But first, ADOT keeps tabs on our valley freeways and across the state. Their cameras watch our every move every day on our commutes.
The agency controlling the feeds decides what we get to see and what we don't. Brittany Thomason looked into why those cameras keep going dark during critical moments on our highways.
What's up with this?
Yes, Yetta and Jamie, we looked through more than 2 years of records showing each time ADOT cut feeds, and just last year, video went dark at least 5 times more than it did in 2020. And the state agency did not even type up its policy for cutting those videos until our station caught the aftermath of a controversial shooting. Driving through Arizona, 450 cameras are focused on our freeways, watching you on your way to work, capturing accidents and backups on our highways. The department in charge of these cameras might just be the most powerful agency in the state. ADOT manages the freeways, driver's licenses, and vehicle registrations. It also decides whether you see those camera feeds or they go black.
It's basically common sense. We do not want to show things that might be disturbing or violent on this system simply because there are thousands of people, some of whom may be children, or people who simply should not want to see that.
But is ADOT really protecting you or itself? In May of 2020, 28-year-old Dion Johnson was shot and killed along the Loop 101 during a confrontation with a state trooper. There's no body cam video of the shooting, but Arizona's Family was the only TV station to record a traffic feed from ADOT showing the aftermath. About 2 months later, ADOT created this traffic camera feed procedure. We asked ADOT's Doug Nick whether timing was a coincidence. Did the Dion Johnson incident change the way that ADOT and DPS look at cutting feeds?
No.
What was the procedure before this was created in July 2020?
We codified that procedure because it was basically a common sense procedure before that had not been written down, which is common practice at this agency, that when we see a procedure that maybe has been done rather informally, let's make it a standard work.
But many don't think it's common sense at all, including those with the Black Lives Matter movement.
They don't want transparency because they don't want accountability.
They say it's no coincidence at all that a state policy was created so quickly after the Johnson shooting.
They got under a lot of heat because of that video. They switched up their tactics.
Nick says the purpose of these cameras is to show the public what's happening on Arizona freeways in real time. ADOT controls each of the cameras from its traffic operations center. They have the ability to move the cameras, to zoom in, and to even shut off those feeds altogether. Also inside the TOC is a DPS trooper.
The DPS troopers are there simply to keep an eye on what's going on the freeways so that if they need to deploy some resources for law enforcement, they can do that.
We've got at least 1 or 2 officers en route.
Troopers have been stationed inside the TOC since 2014. They can ask to turn off the feed, however, ADOT says they make the final call. Anyone, including our TV station, can pull up live traffic feeds around Arizona. We can even record off this video. But when ADOT cuts the feed, news stations and the public are literally in the dark, unable to see what's going on and unable to record the images for later. But those inside the Traffic Operations Center, including that DPS trooper, still can. According to the procedure, ADOT can cut video feeds when law enforcement is controlling the camera position for reasons other than traffic conditions. It also says feeds can be cut when ADOT is tracking law enforcement activities, where live images would hamper operations or officer safety. Since ADOT created the procedure, camera feeds have been cut hundreds of times, from freeway pursuits to crashes and high-risk stops. And when ADOT pulls the plug, it's not just one camera, but on the entire system. Hundreds of cameras all across the state. Do you find it troubling feeds were cut at least 87 times in 2020 and more than 500 times in 2021?
No, because again, 99.3% of the time those cameras are on.
So how does Arizona compare to other states? New Mexico and Nevada tell me they try to cut feeds only as a last resort. Coming up in about 8 minutes, we take a look at how their policies compare to Arizona.
All right, Brittany, we'll see you then.